season awards and the finals. So let's go ahead and introduce everyone from left to right.
My name is Munraj Ball. I'm in 8th grade at Fabian Middle School.
My name is Arthur Simmons. I'm in 8th grade at Fabian Middle School.
And my name is Manpal Ball. I'm in 8th grade and I also go to Fabian Middle School. So let's start with the MVP discussion. We'll go from left to right again, saying who we each think should be the MVP for the 2016-17 season.
So for the 2016-17 season, I personally think that the MVP should be Kawhi Leonard because he is just as good defensively as he is offensively, which is a great asset that I think an MVP should have.
For my MVP candidate, I have Russell Westbrook winning because he averaged a triple-double, which nobody was able to do since Oscar Robertson in 1967.
My MVP candidate would have to be James Harden. He has averaged 29.1 points per game and 11.6 assists. That's great quality. He's sharing the ball, getting everyone involved, and that's why you need an MVP, a person who can get everyone moving and who can win games.
I personally think that James Harden should not be MVP because he cannot play defense that well, and I think an MVP should be great offensively, and that is something Harden has. But they also need to be able to play consistent and good defense.
But if you look at Harden's team, it's the Houston Rockets. They're a team geared just for offense, especially shooting-wise. And that's why he fits best in his team, and he's the one who makes the team work. So if he takes a team that's geared on offense and you have a player like him, he's the one who leads them to a third seed in the playoffs and gets them an easy win.
Well, you can't necessarily win a championship with defense. With offense. That is why the Rockets lost in the second round to the Spurs.
The Spurs were obviously better suited defensively than the Rockets in that playoff series, and that's mainly why the Spurs were able to come back after the blowout game in Game 1 and win that series.
I agree that Kawhi Leonard is a great defensive and offensive player, but I don't think he should just be the MVP yet because he has a huge supporting cast compared to like the Rockets or Thunder. His team, he has LaMarcus Aldridge, he had Manu Ginobili, he has Tony Parker, all these mentors and players that have been around for a long time, so that helps him out and he doesn't have to carry all the pressure.
The reason I think Russell Westbrook shouldn't be the MVP of the 2016-17 season is because of the amount of turnovers he has, and I think it's just very large amount. Russell Westbrook averages, how many turnovers does he average?
He averaged 5.4 turnovers a game, but if you think about it, he's really the only legitimate ball handler for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, then the Oklahoma City Thunder need a better ball handler if he's averaging 5.
I disagree with that. Russell Westbrook has done great for the Thunder. He took them by himself to a 6th seed in the playoffs. He got them there, even though his turnovers are a little low. I say he should be higher up in the discussion than a Kawhi Leonard because he has to do it by himself. He shares the ball, averages a triple-double. But I just don't think he's as good as James Harden yet because James Harden got the bigger seed. He geared a team around himself and he brought them to the finals.
If you also think about it, for the Thunder, Russell Westbrook was always the one crashing the boards. He was always the one sharing the ball and scoring. Kawhi, on the other hand, was not always the one crashing the boards. He was not the one doing it all for the Spurs.
Yeah, what about one player we haven't even mentioned yet, and he's had a solid year, he's been great for us, is LeBron James. He's obviously he could be an MVP, but what makes him, why is he not in this discussion, but instead this? Let's start with Munraj.
I think LeBron James is not in this discussion right now between the three of us because Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, they all have to do more of a job by themselves to get their team ready. LeBron James has other players other superstars like Kyrie Irving who are helping him out, which none of these three players have.
I believe that it's the regular season collapses that the Cleveland Cavaliers had. If you look at it, they finished 10-14 in the last 24 games of the regular season. Even that was against a lot of losing teams as well.
Yeah, agreed. LeBron has a stronger team, but you can't have a team that only works on you. LeBron, he helps the Cavs, but he needs to get everyone on the Cavs up to a level that when they pull him out of the game, they don't struggle.
I agree with that. However, I still think that his job is easier on the Cavs than, say, a Westbrook's job on the Thunder or a Harden's job on the Rockets or even a Kawhi's job on the Spurs.
Agreed, but I would say I don't really see that much of between Kawhi and LeBron. That's why I believe that James Harden, Russell Westbrook. That's why I think they're the front runners opposed to Kawhi. I see why Kawhi has an edge on LeBron because he's a great defensive player, and he also is. He has less of a supporting cast. Like he doesn't have a Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving to help him. But then again, Kawhi does have that. Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They work harder to get their team to a higher place than Kawhi has to. So we're obviously not going to reach a consensus here. So why don't we move into the Rookie of the Year discussion? We'll all each say who we think it should be, starting from left to right again.
I personally think that Rookie of the Year should be Joel Embiid because although he hasn't been playing the whole season, when he was playing, he did a fantastic job, which I think is amazing.
My Rookie of the Year candidate is Malcolm Brogdon, and because he averaged 10 points a game in the playoffs, and as a rookie, stepping in for players like Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker, and the Greek Freak, he did a fantastic job.
I personally, as my Rookie of the Year, I would have to say Dario Saric from the Philadelphia 76ers. He has a pretty high field goal percentage. He's always there. He's not streaky. He's never on or off. He's always consistent. And he's averaging 12.8 points per game, which is always good for a rookie to average more than double digits. And he's helped the Sixers. He's given them a push compared to their last season.
I agree with all that, and I think that right now the competition between Joel Embiid and Malcolm Brogdon, because Brogdon did have a fantastic season, and he really did really well in the playoffs too when he was playing, and I think that would put him above Sarri.
Go ahead.
Brogdon went against all-star point guards such as Kyle Lowry in the playoffs, and his length gives him the ability to defend people like him, and also he fits perfectly into the Bucks system. He's long, he's tall for a point guard, 6'3". He fit well with all of his teammates.
All three of these players are great, but the reason I'd have to put Dario Saric even over Joel Embiid is even though they're on the same team, Saric, he was around longer than Embiid was. He was injured and stuff. Embiid was a great player and a good, unstoppable force when he was playing, but an MVP has to consistently be there. I understand he's dealing with injuries, but I think he'd have a better shot at an award next year when he's constantly there.
I agree with Sark being better than Embiid. But I think personally that Brogdon is better than Sark. So I'd say that the Rookie of the Year should go to Brogdon because he has done a fantastic job, and I think he's done better than Sark.
Brogdon, he gave his team more of a push factor than Saric did. He got them higher up. And he did an amazing job guarding all-stars as DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry in the playoffs. So I think we have reached a consensus, and we would say that our pick for Rookie of the Year would be Malcolm Brogdon. So let's move on now to Defensive Player of the Year. We'll go left to right as always.
I think that Draymond Green should be Defensive Player of the Year because of his ability to guard anyone at any position.
I believe Kawhi Leonard should be Defensive Player of the Year because of his consistent play on defense and allowing him to guard people like LeBron James.
I believe that Rudy Gobert should be the Defensive Player of the Year, just because he's probably one of the most underrated centers in the league. He's gone against those huge forces in DeMarcus Cousins and Karl Anthony Towns, and he's held his ground. He's gotten 2.6 blocks per game in the regular season, which is pretty remarkable for a big man.
The sole purpose that I'd say Draymond is better than Kawhi and Rudy Gobert is because that he can guard any player at any position well. Like, Gobert cannot guard a point guard as well as he can guard a center. Kawhi cannot guard a center as well as he guards a small forward. But Draymond Green can guard any position well. And I think that's what puts him above these other two players.
I agree that Draymond Green is a good that he can guard everyone from different calibers. But the thing is, Draymond Green he had the second highest technical foul count in the entire league. And he just has that attitude that you can't have the best defensive player, someone who's constantly getting angry, starting to do stupid fouls. And that's not defense. Defense is always keeping your cool and not letting someone get past you.
And I believe Kawhi Leonard does exactly that. He doesn't talk a whole lot of trash. He does his talking by playing great defense. All right.
It seems to be that we're running out of time here, so I hope you guys all have a good day. Thank you for watching our panel, and have a great weekend. Hello and welcome back to our sports segment. We were cut short earlier, so this is our second one. In this segment, we will talk mainly on the NBA Finals and the NHL Finals. Again, we will introduce ourselves going from left to right.
Hi, my name is Manraj Ball, and I go to Fabian Middle School, and I'm in 8th grade.
Hi, I'm Arthur Simmons. I'm in the 8th grade, and I also attend Fabian Middle School.
Hi, my name is Manpal Ball. I'm in 8th grade, and I also go to Fabian Middle School. So let's start with NBA Finals. We'll each say who we think will win it and why. So let's start with Manraj.
I think that the Cavaliers are going to win the NBA Finals because when LeBron wants it, he wants it more than any other player, and no one will be able to stop it when he's going like full speed.
My prediction is that the Cleveland Cavaliers will go back-to-back in the NBA Finals once again because of their depth and their length. I believe the Warriors do not have a great bench.
I think I have to go with majority, and I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers will also win, just due to the fact that you see the want in each of those players. They want another ring, and look at the teams they've played compared to the Warriors. They've swept a team like Toronto, which is a really good all-around team. Then they've shown over and over that they're worth it and that they will do whatever they want to do to get where they want, and that's the NBA Finals.
Adding to that, the Warriors have not yet been tested by anybody. Every team they have played has been plagued by an injury. The Spurs lost Tony Parker, David Lee, Kawhi Leonard. Utah lost George Hill. And the Blazers were without their big man, Yusuf Nurkic.
Yeah, and the Warriors, I feel like it's the first two games, especially the next series, it's going to be the Cavs. I feel like it's going to be a wake-up call for the Warriors because they've, as Arthur previously stated, they haven't been tested yet. But then they're going to go against a team like the Cavs that are rolling. They have so much momentum. They're just going to come in and steamroll them.
I think the Cavaliers are going to win in 6 because I think the Cavaliers at first, since the Warriors haven't really played that well competition yet because of the injuries, the Cavaliers are going to go up 2-0, and then that will be like a wake-up call to the Warriors, and the Warriors, they'll fight back and win Game 3, but then I think the Cavaliers will close out with Game 4, but then the Warriors, they're going to win Game 5 at home due to the home court advantage, and now that they're playing like the way they usually play, but then the Cavs will be able to finish it off in Game 6 with the home court advantage.
Adding on to that, I hate to call Kawhi a LeBron-like player, but if you go back to Game 1 of that series, the first 3 quarters against the San Antonio Spurs, coming off that rest, the Warriors were rusty and they were unable to guard Kawhi Leonard, and that's why the lead got to us. They were leading by as many as 27 in the first half. So I believe that'll happen again, except LeBron will not get hurt.
Yeah, I fully agree with that statement. Kawhi, when the Warriors played the Spurs in Game 1 and when Kawhi was playing, the Warriors, they looked like they had no chances, but then after the injury, then they were able to play, and still there were some close games, even with the Spurs not having the best player. Now imagine the Cleveland Cavaliers having their best players and having another superstar in Kyrie Irving, and then just imagine what they'll do to the Warriors then.
Going back on what you previously said, that you think it's going to be Cavs in 6, I think that there is a pretty good chance that there might be a sweep in the finals. The Cavs, as most of us agree, that they're probably going to win games 1 and 2, but then they have the momentum. They've been rolling the entire playoffs. You see the unity in them. And then they have the home court advantage. The crowd's on their back. I think they can easily take it in 4.
Well, I kind of disagree with that statement because going back to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Cavs came out of Boston after that 44-point blowout. They surrendered a 16-point lead to the Boston Celtics in Game 3. And ended up losing that game off of an Avery Bradley 3-pointer.
Yeah, I agree with what Arthur just said because the Cavs, it looked like it was The scenario we're talking about looks very similar to the one the Cavs had in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's why I believe the Warriors will be able to win Game 3, just like the Celtics were able to beat the Cavs in Game 3.
Yeah, it's obviously it's going to be the Cavs winning again, back-to-back champions. And it's just because you see the want, you see the desire in each one of their players, and you see the talent.
Especially James Jones.
Especially like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that's gonna be the story of the finals. You see the Warriors with all the talented players they have, but then you see the Cavs. They're just gonna come in and work as hard as they can. They're gonna win. So we've reached a point. The Cavs are gonna win. How about we move into the NHL finals now? Now we'll go from Manraj to me saying who we think will win.
I believe that Nashville is going to win. I think that they're going to be able to upset the Penguins just like they have with Chicago and other teams. And I just really think that they're going to have one of those playoffs where they can just like come out of nowhere and beat everyone.
My prediction is the exact opposite of Manraj's. I believe Smashville will not be able to corrupt Pittsburgh.
I have to go with Pittsburgh on this one too. Just because Nashville, they have proved something this playoffs. They've been the team full of surprises. I mean, sweeping Chicago in the first round.
No
one expected that coming.
No one could expect.
But then you see the Penguins. They're a solid team. They've always been higher up. Nashville just came out of nowhere. And if they're going against a team like the Penguins that's consistently always working well, I think the Penguins will outwork them just due to their skill level and just their experience in general.
By you saying the experience, I actually agree with that. I think if some of the games, if it goes to a Game 7, then I definitely think the Penguins will win due to the experience. Nashville will be too crazy. Penguins will know what to do. They've been in 2 other Game 7s this playoffs, and they'll be able to close out. I think if any game goes into overtime, I'm also going to think the Penguins will win that. But if it's just like a third, if it just ends of regulation and the game's over, then I think Nashville will be able to win that game.
Go ahead.
Also, you have to add in the flexibility the Penguins have at the goalkeeper position with Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury. They're able to pose different threats at any time they want.
True. Also, just look back at the last series with Ottawa. It might have gone to with Pittsburgh and Ottawa. It might have gone to Game 7, but I felt like the entire series, I was personally rooting for Ottawa, but the entire series, it seemed like Pittsburgh had the advantage, and Ottawa's just somehow hanging in. Like you could see that Pittsburgh, except for the one blowout, you could see Pittsburgh was kind of in control every game. Like even the overtime last night. I mean, Pittsburgh, I always had that feeling Pittsburgh's going to score. And look at the chances they had on goal. Every time Ottawa got a breakaway, it wasn't really a true breakaway, but Pittsburgh got all those one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, in the Game 7 against Ottawa, especially in overtime, it looked like the Penguins had a lot more. They did have a lot more opportunities than Ottawa, and their breakaways were a lot more deadly.
So we did this with the NBA Finals. How about we each say how many games we think it'll take for the team we expect to win?
If Nashville's gonna win, I think it has to be done in 6. Because I think if it's going to Game 7, then they won't win. So I say Nashville's gonna win in 6.
I have the exact opposite. I have Pittsburgh winning in 6 because I do believe that Nashville is a great team. I believe that they have the reason that I called them Smashville. They have great hitters. They have great defensemen. PK Subban, James Neal, and Colton Sissons.
Yeah.
Great goal scorers as well.
I'm gonna have to go with. So it's obviously not gonna be a sweep. Each team's gonna get at least 2 wins. So I'm gonna have to go again with Pittsburgh in 6, like what Arthur said, and just simply because the experience Pittsburgh, they're a better, well-rounded team, and they're better than Nashville. I think and that's why they're gonna win it. So let's move back into the NBA and let's talk about Rookie of the Year. So the draft. Let's see, who do you think will be first and second pick? We know Boston's getting the first pick and Lakers are getting the second. So let's go from Manraj on.
I think that if Boston can look past LeVar Ball, then I think there's a good chance that Lonzo will be able to be the first pick. But I also think that Lonzo will have to be sometimes I think that he might not even be in the top 5 because of his father.
I believe basically what Manraj said. I believe that if they can get past the arrogance of LeVar Ball, they could definitely make Lonzo Ball work in Boston.
Yes, so Markel Fultz, I think he will go to Boston as the first pick, just simply because, yeah, as stated, the LeVar Ball, like, he said that he's not going to mess with any of the coaches, but I think that's fake. Like, the only reason Lonzo wants to stay in LA, and his whole family does, is so that they can be near him. And with that being said, I think LeVar's going to go to the practices, talk to the coaches, just mess up the system.
LeVar's honestly just ruining his son's chances.
That's why I think Boston will go with the safer pick in Markel Fultz.
And adding on to LA, don't forget, they have a family business, the Big Baller brand. If they stay in LA, they will continue to make some serious money.
I think it is pretty remarkable, though, that Lonzo already has his own shoe even before he entered the NBA. That is a pretty big landmark.
I don't think that's a good deal, though. The shoe, like
it's not a good deal. I don't even think it's making that much money, but it's still pretty impressive to get some sales, and you're not even an NBA player yet.
Yeah, if he makes great sales on that shoe, he's going to have to back it up with his play as well.
I know.
I mean, we can tell that Lonzo's going to be a huge force, but I think, like, coming into the league, but everyone's going to want a piece of him just because of what his dad has done.
I actually have a question for you guys. Do you think that either Lonzo or Fultz will break because of the pressure of being in the NBA and being like one of those top picks, or do you think they'll be able to handle it and like put the team on their back?
I believe Markel Fultz will definitely be able to handle all the pressure of being an NBA player because he hasn't had monkeys on his back throughout his high school and college career. But Lonzo Ball, I believe, he will crack, but he will also grow with the pressure.
Yeah, I think that Lonzo, he will grow from the pressure, like Arthur said. But I think there's definitely he's gonna feel more pressure than Fultz will, even if he's not the first pick, just because of the media and what like the Big Baller brand has done.
I mean, honestly, for the last few seasons, Lonzo's experience with the pressure, being a Ball brother, and what his dad's done, in UCLA, he still played fine. He did good in their undefeated season. There's definitely pressure there not to lose a game. He still averaged an amazing amount of points and assists. But I do think it's going to take him a year to get used to the new atmosphere with the NBA and then the pressure his dad's also putting on him with all these shoe deals because he has to turn out good or they're not going to get any sales. So it's probably going to take him a year, but then after that I can see him being in a few All-Star games. So how about we move on to the Pelicans? That's a new team. We have DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. Honestly, they kind of went below everyone's standards when they were together, and they didn't play that well. Let's talk about the Pelicans' futures and what we think of them.
Well, I think the Pelicans actually could have a bright future if they get rid of some, if they replace some role players, and if they stay healthy, then I think they could actually do some good things.
I believe that if the Pelicans can get a nice point guard that can dish it out to Boogie and Ant, they could be a great combo. But if you think about it, like you said, they fell below the standards. But after the All-Star break,
they already weren't going to make the playoffs.
We already knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. But the thing was, DeMarcus was averaging 20-something points a game plus 10-plus rebounds. Same thing with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think they just need that guard or that last piece that'll put the puzzle together. Someone who can score by himself, then dish it into both of them, get some big points.
Yeah, I think if they get that guard, I agree with you guys with that guard thing. If they can get that guard, then they can be a very deadly team. And I see them getting to the Western Conference Finals if they can get that guard and stay healthy.
And I've always had a theory that the King would always come back to New Orleans. Paul coming back to New Orleans.
If Chris Paul comes back, then that's a good team. They're set. They'll make the playoffs for the next few years. So how about we've reached a consensus here. Let's move on to the NBA All Teams. Do we agree with them? Do we agree with the first team being LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis?
I believe that is the right first team, but I'm more angered about the second team being DeAndre Jordan replacing Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson did not make teams.
Well, Klay Thompson I'm not that shocked about, but Kyrie Irving is pretty, like, that was a shock.
Well, even on the first team, I see why Anthony Davis would be there, but I feel like there's someone out there who deserves it more than him. Maybe an Isaiah
Well,
Thomas.
he's the best power forward in the league, though, Anthony Davis.
True, but still, I just don't think I think he should definitely be second team. He deserves first team, but I think there's still one player that could have gotten the spot.
Well, the thing is with NBA All teams, they try and create like basically with the first team that's supposed to be the top 5. Like
At their position.
LeBron is really the best small forward in the NBA.
True.
Russell is supposed to be the best point guard. So they're trying to create a team with all 5 positions with that contain the best players.
Yeah, and then again, you can see it. The top 4 MVP candidates are also in that team. Russell Westbrook at 1, James Harden at 2, Kawhi Leonard, and then LeBron James. So they obviously each of them deserve it. This is gonna be. I wish we could actually see games with them playing.
I wish there was like a first team versus second team game, then third team with the subs or something.
That'd actually be pretty cool. It'd be better than an All-Star game.
Yeah.
So let's move into. Let's go back to the finals for a second. So you see the Warriors. Do you guys think something else will happen to Draymond Green again? Like, because I think he has that attitude that if they do lose those first 2 games and even a third, something's going to go wrong with him and he's definitely going to get mad. And I have a feeling I see another suspension coming. With his attitude, do you guys see any further problems for the Warriors?
I think there's a 50-50 chance, honestly, that Draymond Green could get another suspension. I mean, the 50% that he wouldn't is because now he's playing the Cavaliers for the second time. He knows how it's going to be. He knows that if it's 3-1, anything can happen. He knows to stay cool. But on the same time, it's still Draymond Green. I think there's still that equal chance that he'll still go around and do something idiotic.
And the Cavaliers know that the Draymond Green has temper issues, so they're gonna be talking their trash. They're gonna try and get in his head and make him do something stupid.
Like
that's just part of the game. Talking trash, words are gonna fly. Draymond, I think he honestly could take his game a little higher just by like working on his intangibles. Like the attitude definitely needs to get better. I think even if the Warriors are winning the game, I can see Draymond something bad happening to him, then him getting in trouble.
Yeah, if you're in the NBA, you got to be able to handle trash talk. Otherwise, you're always going to get suspended in one of those tough games where your team's going to need you, and that can't happen.
Like if you're gonna talk trash, you gotta be able to take trash.
Like even
that's a good point,
even
too.
like NFL, you see players like who get emotionally unstable and then they do stupid things. Like even Odell Beckham, he had those problems. And if you're playing a professional sport, you need to be able to keep your cool, keep your mentality in check, and just keep playing.
Otherwise, you're just ruining your team's image, and you're just ruining your own image.
So how about we move into Defensive Player of the Year again? So Kawhi Leonard, we've talked about him. He has those giant hands. He's big. He's long. Do you think those attributes give him, like, how much of a leg up do you think those give him than any other people?
I mean, honestly, I think Kawhi Leonard's probably the best at guarding a 3 or 4, but he cannot guard everyone else. Like, he cannot. I don't think he'd do a decent job against a point guard or against a shooting guard. He'd be able to hold his own. A point guard, I think he could screw up a couple times, but he'd do good still.
Yeah, I think though he's a great defender. We see that, but his attributes definitely help. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and please donate.
You stopped it? Ball? Favorite ball? Ball.